Worldwide, Southside, music is back. Coming with another one. Come to the beat, come to the back of the represent for the West Coast. To the day that I die, this can never stop or ever giving up on life. Come on and take a walk with me through the Golden State. When homicide drive-bys going on like every single day. Don't ask why, it's just everyday life, but I live it right. I live it right with the West Coast. I represent it for life. Can I never stop, keep it up. I stay true and I follow my dreams. This is something that I love, all these fools do. It's talking too much, cause the streets are talking, and they talking too much. And the streets are talking, cause they talking too much. And the people talking, cause people talking too much. But just don't understand, this is real life.
Yo, Brian, turn it up.
Represented for the West Coast, the West Coast, the West Coast. Represented for the West Coast, the West Coast, the West Coast. Represented for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Represented for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Now I'm staying true to Almighty Baby Blue. I represent for the West Coast. Can't you tell? I'm all dressed in blue. But can I never stop? Never ever living no damn lies. Living the true life that I know how to live. Keep it a real since the day one. Rolling with them S's, always up to no good. And you fools know exactly what I'm talking about. OGs, bad news, tattoos. Motherfuckers with the ball heads, with the tatted up in the neighborhoods, throwing up in the sky. Let them know what's up. This is life that I live. Drinking on a 40 bottle, kicking it in my driveway. And I'm kicking with my sick battles. Can I never stop? Cause I'm coming back. New attitude, representing for the West Coast. 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 For the West Coast. For the West Coast. Representing for the West Coast. Representing for the West Coast. Representing for the West Coast. For the West Coast. For the West Coast. Now I'm coming back with another one. I stay on true and I know how to do. Salsa music is back worldwide. And I can tell you why. Never gonna stop. I'm gonna make the music rise to the top. I'm staying true and I know how to do this. Coming up from the game, I'm changing my life with this music that I live in day by day. These fools who keep on talking a whole bunch of smack. I just don't understand. I'm staying true and I represent it. Take a walk with me through the Golden State, and then you know what's up. I can tell you the rest. Represented for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Represented for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Represented for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Represented for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Represented for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Representing for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Representing for the West Coast, for the West Coast, for the West Coast. Representing